Hey there, survivors! How's it going? I'm your host Douglas here at Drumway Productions, bringing you another Screaming Ghostface Collector's video. And in today's video, we have a pretty wide array of stuff. We have some vintage, some modern, and of course some replica pieces. Most of these were all gifted to me, but one piece is something I've been looking for quite a while that I actually did pick up myself. Our first gift of the day is this replica latex Gen 1 small dot variant aged Billy Ghostface mask. I know that's quite the title, and I don't think that's the exact title that the artist has for it. But yeah, this is a completely handmade ground up sculpt. This is not like a recast or a retool of a Gen 1 made to be aged. This concept piece was sculpted, created, and sent in by Scream Rehab. He actually started doing these as I believe a limited to like 100 run. So if you're interested in getting in on one, I'm sure he probably still has some spots left, but he's doing them in batches of like 10 or something like that. And he offered to send me a piece that was fully done in the way that he offers them, which is really cool. They're essentially painted how the Scream 6 masks are painted. However, I requested a blank for one because I kind of want to try painting it somewhat realistic. Of course, these vinyl masks would never rot and get cracks like this, but I want to try painting it in somewhat more of a realistic style, maybe with some blue dots in areas and some pink bacteria stains, just yellows and browns, stuff like that. And this is actually going to be a separate video. I wanted to go ahead and show it in this video since it was sent in as a gift, and this will be something to get you guys interested in. But I want to try my hand at painting this, and I think instead of doing a full cotton shroud on it, I'm just going to make like a really rotted shroud. I think that would be a really cool look for a completely custom Scream 6 Ghostface mask. But as far as this goes, this is a really cool sculpture. Scream Rehab did a great job on it, and this particular copy he sent me is a flawed cast. So if you guys see some close-ups of it later, know that it's not normally this messed up. There's a lot of air bubbles in the surface of the mask. There's a pretty large blemish over here on the top of this eyebrow. I also noticed that there's a pretty large air bubble in the center of the nostril there, some more air bubbles in the mouth. So I could use a little bit of touch-up work, or I could just leave it as is and consider that part of the aging. But of course, a vintage vinyl mask would never actually crack and age like this, but I just want to try my hand at painting one in a bit more of a realistic style. But yeah, if you're interested in getting one of these yourself fully finished, check out Scream Rehab over on Instagram. I do believe he offers other services as well, such as reshrouding, whitening treatments. I know he makes replicas of like the Stab reptile weapons knives, Billy's bloody shirt. He does all sorts of different replicas at this point in time, so if you're interested in checking some of that stuff out, go check him out on Instagram, but of course I'll throw some pictures up on screen now. Alright, moving right along to some more gifts that we received. This package was pretty amazing, guys. This collector recently decided that they really had no interest in being a part of the horror community anymore. It was more of a change of faith than just like a I have a distaste for the community type thing. And they wanted to go ahead and let go of pretty much all their Scream collectibles, but they had no interest in selling them. So they reached out to me, offered to send all the stuff to me, and said, look, keep what you want and give everything else away. And they sent over a pretty hefty amount of stuff. There was some really cool stuff, I think a couple of different EUs, some non-glow reshoot masks, a glow reshoot mask, just all sorts of different stuff, as well as what we're about to take a look at now. But yeah, they told me I could keep whatever I want, give away whatever I want, and I actually decided to give everything but the couple of items I'm about to show you guys to someone local named Joe, who I actually met at the premiere of Scream 6. Joe is a newer collector who is looking to build his collection, and I reached out to him asking him if he'd be interested in these pieces, and of course he was. So I'm really excited to get those to him, and these pieces are some really cool ones that I'm also really excited to add. So, to that person, thank you. They also asked not to be verbally thanked in the video, so I'm not including their name, but if you're watching this, seriously, thank you. These are typically known as the very thin, terrible thin vacuform Ghostface masks, and most people don't really like these. Typically, they also would sell for $3. Well, apparently these are now $6, more than an ultra white. And I gotta say, for the sculpture, I still can't justify that. However, Fun World has actually made a huge improvement on these that I'm only just now hearing about, and this is the first time I've seen it. these are actually made out of a much sturdier, thicker plastic. This is more akin to your hard mold plastic masks. It's very interesting that they made the switch specifically to still offer this style. I don't know how much cheaper it must be to produce these than the same other hard mold mask. But yeah, for those of you who are typically calling this the thinner, flexible plastic mask, and that the hard plastic mask, I don't know what to tell you, but these are pretty much the same material. You can see I'm really trying to bend it, and one of those normal masks would not survive this. So very peculiar piece there, and these say that these are March to May 2022. So a newer version for sure, but certainly something I hadn't seen before, and also certainly welcome to stay here amongst the older style of the very same type of mask. Alright, moving right along, we have a mask that I technically already own, but not exactly like this. Here we have the light up color changing Ghostface mask. I do own one of these, but mine is brand new and sealed and complete. This one is not sealed obviously, and also not complete. It's missing the light up element inside, so essentially all we have here is a hard plastic Ghostface mask that is padded inside. Like I said, no lights, it has the elastic band, full shroud, but it's kind of like an aged Scream 4 mask before Scream 6 even came out. It's because this is a TD stamp style mold, but this is a hard plastic mask. It is actually stamped on the bottom, which is interesting because we don't see that with any of the other hard plastic masks. But yeah, I mean, it's just that with a little bit of weathering. It looks like they just hit it with some gray ink and kind of gave it like a wipe over, kind of, halfway. Funny enough, it looks like you can see they wiped here and wiped the forehead, but not too much on the face, which makes it look old and distressed, and the fact that it's such a hard mask is kind of like if the vinyl actually did petrify. So what I'm trying to get around to saying here is, since only one mask was shown representing Scream 4 and Scream 6, I'm going to keep this one to kind of represent one of the other killers. I don't know if I'll repaint it yet or leave it exactly as is. If you guys would like to see it repainted in a future video, or if you think it looks cool exactly as is, let me know in the comment section down below. But I thought this one would be fun for a project mask. Alright, we finally made it to the big piece in today's video. This is not the final piece, but this is the final piece that was gifted to me. This is the main thing that he really wanted me to have here for the collection, to be on display with the whole shrine, and it kind of makes sense, and it's definitely helpful, because it's a piece that I've never owned before. Here we have a Scream 1 style robe. Now, this piece is pretty perfect as far as its size for me. Maybe just a little bit too short, maybe by like an inch or something, but it's not noticeable. But yeah, this is a pretty nice robe. I don't know exactly who made it, though I do have my suspicions. Regardless of who made it or whatever, it is a really awesome piece to have, because like I said, I've never owned a Scream 1 robe. As far as having like the full lineup of ghost faces for the shrine, that's another robe style I would need represented, so it's greatly appreciated. I don't know how much I can show you guys, but I'll try. There is Velcro in the hood. As far as the stiffness of the hood, this feels like a very stiff foam, a very dense foam for sure. It obviously has the drawstring in the front. Then, as far as the gloves, there you go. The tips of the fingers on these look a bit odd, but outside of that, a very nice looking robe. If you're not familiar with the bottom of the Scream 1 robe and how it's frayed, there's a pretty cool look at it for you. So yeah, a very nice robe, regardless of whether I would be wearing this for cosplay or, you know, just putting it on display in the shrine. This is a very awesome and very thoughtful piece, and I greatly appreciate it. And now, for the final piece of the video, something I've been after for quite a while. Here we have the only piece in today's video that I purchased myself, that was offered to me by Jonathan Dragovin. Seriously, thank you. He reached out to me and offered me this piece, knowing that I've been after one for quite a while, and I think he was selling several different Ghostface pieces off. I don't know if it was his full collection or just a lot of different pieces, but this is definitely one I was happy to pick up. Here we have the Scream 4 Pocket Screamer. Now, for those of you who aren't aware of what a pocket screamer is, it's essentially a small sculpture of a character. Sometimes it's a tombstone, but typically it's some little wacky character around this size that has a speaker in the back. You squeeze it, sometimes the eyes will light up, more often than not they do, but sometimes they don't. And of course, like the name says, it screams. And believe it or not, these are kind of hard to find. I don't know whether it was because they weren't super popular or they just didn't make many of them, but they were offered in Spirit Halloween, and I believe you could also get them from other retailers. But usually you would go to Spirit, they would have like a cardboard carton of them where there's just like, I don't know, 12 of them, maybe there were more in there, maybe 16. And yeah, you just pick one up, take it to the register. Sometimes they would have a tag on them, sometimes they would just have a sticker, because some of them actually do have a separate little tag that has information, and some just have a price sticker you scan. Regardless, they're very, very cool. There's actually a full Facebook group dedicated to pocket screamers, and I joined that group a while ago in search of these, but very seldom do they pop up. It's not like they're super expensive, highly sought after pieces in the collecting world, but they're just not many of them out there. And beyond that, there are variants. This one, of course, seems to be right-handed, but there are some left-handed ones, and there's a Scarecrow version and a Scarecrow version who is left-handed. And I believe they're fully like different sculpts. It's not just a hand swap. They are completely different sculpts, but that is the most noticeable thing about it at a first glance, is that the knife is swapped in different hands. You guys probably don't care this much about pocket screamers, but for those of you who do care and are interested in this information, I figured I'd go ahead and put it out there. Now, as far as giving you all a demonstration, I will not be pulling the pull tab because it is still attached. However, it gives a pretty generic scream that was used for a lot of different products during that time period, and the eyes light up and they flash, and I think that's about it. But yeah, a very, very cool piece. They are a nice sculpture, and I'm really, really happy I was finally able to add at least one of these to the collection. And that does it for today's video. We got a couple of cool replica pieces, a couple of nice masks, a little figure here that I was searching after for a very long time, a nice Scream 1 replica robe, which is a first here for the collection and will be welcome to the Ghostface Shrine. And yeah, I think that about does it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I love you all. Be sure to hug your friends and tell them that you love them. You never know when it may be the last time. And I'll see you guys next time.